Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you all are doing well. Today we are going to solve another lab from HTTP Request Smuggling vulnerability module. And today we are going to see HTTP Request Smuggling obfuscating the transfer encoding header. The lab description is saying this lab involves a front-end and back-end server, and the two servers handle duplicate HTTP request header in a different ways. So the front-end server rejects requests that are not using get or post method. To solve the lab, we need to smuggle a request to the backend server so that the next request processed by the backend server appears to use the method GPOST. Okay, so the most important thing here is this one. The two servers handle duplicate HTTP request header in a different ways, and we need to see and find out that discrepancy in this lab and need to exploit the vulnerability. Fine, so this is our lab. We already open it up here. Okay, and here we already have burp suite working. So I'm gonna go to the web root request, and here I'm gonna send this request 2 times to the repeater so that the one request will be our attack request and the second request will be the normal request. Fine, so let's say I'm going back to the repeater. Here we have both of these requests. I'm gonna make some prerequisite settings here. So make sure the HTTP version is HTTP 1, and I'm gonna enable it in both of these requests. Second thing, I need to turn off update content length in both of the requests. Fine. Now in the first request, I'm gonna change it to the post request, changing the request method to post, and I'm gonna delete rest of the headers here which I don't need. Although if you do not even delete these headers, it will work fine, but just to keep it more simple so that you can understand it better, I just delete it. Okay, and here I'm gonna add transfer encoding. So transfer encoding, and the value of it is gonna be chunked. Okay, now here it's better to turn on the turn line feeds, and here I'm gonna choose, let's say, the first chunk size, which is gonna be 4, and the value of it is going to be, let's say, AAAA, and another chunk size, I'm gonna add here an invalid hexadecimal representation of the chunk size, and then I'm gonna see how many bytes are there. So there are 7 bytes, and I'm gonna add it to the content length. So in this way, first of all, I need to make sure that the front-end server is interpreting transfer encoding. So if it's interpreting transfer encoding, it will see the first chunk size is 4 and the data of it is 4 times A. Then it will go to the second chunk size, which is an invalid hexadecimal representation M, and it will say, okay, invalid request, because the chunk size is represented by invalid hexadecimal value. So I'm gonna send the request, and you can see invalid request. So this is as expected. Now that confirms that the front-end server is using transfer encoding. Now we need to see whether the backend server also uses the transfer encoding or not, because as you can see here, it's saying the two servers handle duplicate HTTP request headers in a different ways, and we need to check that by saying here, I'm gonna add here 0, and then there is nothing, and I'm gonna last thing is M. Okay, so 0 means I'm going to say that the message ends here, so the next thing will be considered as the starting of the next request. Okay, so let's just send the request. Oh, I forgot to mention one more thing. Now we need to somehow trick the server so that it does not see the transfer encoding and interpret the content length, and we need to do this to the backend server. Okay, so here I'm just going to add one more transfer encoding header, Control C, and put it here, Control V, and any value. So let's say I'm gonna say hacked, That's fine. And let's just send the request one more time. And this time we should see here communication timeout. Why so? Because the front end server basically consider this transfer encoding header, okay, and the backend server will interpret the content length. That's perfect. Now we need to see how we can trick the server for the GPOST request. And for that purpose, I'm going to put here, let's say, 1, and then here I'm going to say G, and that's it. Let's just send the request. So 200, okay. And here I need to also change the request method to post, and I don't want all of these headers here, okay. And I'm gonna put here a fake data, which is fake is equal to data, and the length of it is going to be 9 bytes. So you can see here 9 bytes of data is there. So I'm gonna update it to 9 and send the request. 200, okay. Go back to the attack request, send it, and back to the normal request, send one more time. Okay, so we have something here. We need to update the content length, which is going to be 3 instead of all of these, which is 11. Now I need only up to here 1, so it's gonna be 3, and send the request. 200, okay, fine. And if we come back to the normal request and send it, we should see G0 post. That means for the second request, it is going to append or prepend this G0 to the second request, which starts from the post. Fine. Now to trick that, what I need to do here is I'm gonna take this Control C up to post, and instead of that, I'm gonna paste it here. Okay, we don't need the transfer encoding because the backend server now interpreting content length, but here we need to say, let's say fake is equal to data. We need to put some data here, okay. And also because we need to make a request with the GPOST, so I will put here GPOST. And the second thing is I would say 0, so the message ends here, and put 2 turn line feed after 0. Fine. Now if you want to make sure the content length, and also because the first request is post request, and this is going to be acted as the data for this post request, and the front end server is interpreting transfer encoding, so you need to make sure to update here the chunk size. So the chunk size will be from here up to here. That's gonna be A2, and I'm gonna add here A2, sorry, A2. Okay. Here if you see the data for the content length, it's always better to start with the bottom. Okay, so make sure before you going to specify the chunk size, start with the bottom and just calculate the bytes of data. You can see 16 bytes of data, but I would increase few more bytes in this so that the request will, the server will wait for the extra bytes. So the exact bytes of data from here up to here is 16, but I put here 20. Okay, now again I need to calculate the chunk size. So from here, data from last A up to GPOST, there are A3 chunk size is A3, so I'm gonna add here A3. Now for this content length, I need to see how many bytes of data here. So this is gonna be 4. I'm gonna add here 4. Okay, let's go. I'm going to just adjust this a bit so that we can see both of the windows simultaneously. Now I'm gonna send the request, the attack request, 200. Okay, now if we go back to the normal request and send the request, you can see unrecognized method GPOST, and here we solve the lab. So that's it for this video. I hope you understand it. I hope you enjoy it. So that's it for this video. I'm gonna see you in the next video. If you like the content, please like, subscribe and share. Bye.